In this video, I'll be taking a look at Graceful Explosion Machine for the Switch. This game is made by Virtue Pop, and this game will cost you $12.99 in the Nintendo Switch's eShop. And unfortunately, there is no physical version of this game. So if you'd like to pick this game up on your Switch, you will have to go to the eShop on your Switch and pick this game up. Now, if you don't know what this game is, Graceful Explosion Machine is a shmup, or better known as a shoot 'em up. If you ever played Geometry Wars, Resogun, Defender, Gradius, then you'll know exactly what type of game this is. This is a game where you control a little spaceship, and it's kind of a 2D side scroller, and you go around shooting different enemies. Now the ship you control does have 4 different attacks, and the 4 different attacks are all the attacks you're going to get throughout the whole entire game. This game is going to be 36 levels long. Also, I really do apologize for the glare of my tripod in the Switch's screen. There's nothing I can really do about that. But back to what I was saying, there's 36 levels in the game, and your ship gets 4 different attacks. So you get your standard shooting gun like any other standard shoot 'em up, and then you get a laser, and then you get a sword that goes 360 around your ship, and then you get missiles that you can actually target which enemies you want, and those are all the attacks you get through the game. Honestly, a lot of people are saying this game actually doesn't have a lot of content. Yes, there's 36 different levels, but it will get repetitive really fast. One thing I don't know why Virtue Pop didn't think of right off the bat, which is kind of obvious, which you're not going to get with Graceful Explosion Machine. You're not going to get any bosses. Now, I haven't played the whole entire game, but I heard from a lot of people there are no boss fights in the game, and that is such a shame, since this game would really be awesome if it had boss fights. Hopefully, if the company will actually update this game with bosses in the future. Also, if you like games that are really popping off the screen, are really cutesy with a lot of cool colors and things like that, then you're also definitely going to love this game, because this game is not your traditional shoot 'em up. It's not going for a punk rock. It's not going for a futuristic vibe. It's a real cutesy vibe. Also, going off the graphics are solid, and a game like this can get chaotic at times, and I can report to you this game does run at, I think, a smooth either 30 or 60. I want to say 60, but don't hold me to that because I'm not sure, but either way, the frame rate is very solid on this game overall. I think what you're getting here is a very solid experience for $12.99. I can't say it's the best experience. It is very bare bones, and in terms of story, there is no story at all with this game. The main focus of the game is actually going to be the gameplay, so the gameplay is front and center when it comes to Graceful Explosion Machine. One problem I have with this game is the fact that when you actually are playing a level in the game, when you complete a level in the game, it automatically tells you to press A to upload your score, and that's a problem because maybe you want to get through the level really fast after you're done, and you're rapidly tapping A thinking you're going to skip to the next level, but you're not. You're actually uploading your score to the internet. They made the B button, the cancel button, for some reason not upload your score to the internet, which is actually a kind of a problem. Now, getting back to the music of the game. Now, the music of the game is very atmospheric, and I actually like the music in the game. Let me go ahead and turn back on my Switch. But yeah, the music is very atmospheric, and that's actually something I actually really do like with the game, that the music is very atmospheric. But what I will say with the music in this game, it's not memorable by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're looking for music that's going to be awesome and you want to listen to the tunes outside of the game, this is not the game for that, because after you're done playing the game, I felt like, well, I didn't really want to listen to the music outside the game, because the music is not amazing at all. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you some gameplay. And each wave, or each phase, you do have 3 hits, so your ship can take 3 hits, and once you take 3 hits, you automatically die. That's when you actually have to start the phase over. The good thing is you don't have to start, like for instance, phase 1. If you're on phase 2 of any level, then you'll start back at phase 2 if you lose all 3 hits. You do have 3 hits. As you can see, I've already played some of the game. I'm just going to demo some of the game here. Here's phase 1. So this level has 2 phases. One thing that is sad about this game is you can't use the D-pad. You do have to use the left analog stick with this game, which is kind of a shame, since this is kind of a retro slash shoot 'em up game, you would think you'd be able to use the D-pad, but unfortunately you cannot use the D-pad. And you can see you can move your ship if you press the left bumper in the back. You can move your ship, and as you can see, as I'm shooting my regular shooter, it is overheating. So there is a bar, not the bottom bar, but the bar above the bottom bar will tell you when your regular shooter is actually running out. Every weapon in this game does run overheat, so just take that in mind. It does overheat, so you will have to be careful when you shoot. I actually love that aspect because it gives this game more replayability. It's not like you can just go around shooting everything and trying to kill everything, so it gives it some strategy in this game by having everything overheat. And those little yellow things after you kill an enemy are actually fill the gauge at the bottom. So when you're using your special, you are using the gauge at the bottom. When you use your missiles, your beam, or the sword, you will be using those. You will be using the bar at the bottom. It does take energy. And once you kill enemies, you will see these little gems. And once you pick up those little gems, it will refill the yellow bar at the bottom. The only one that does not use the yellow bar at the bottom, which I did mention, is going to be your standard shooter. You can see it does take up its own energy bar. I'm going to go ahead and use my sword. Here's a sword. And I found this really to be useful in big clusters of enemies if you definitely think that you're getting overran with enemies. And this thing is basically just an endless shooter. There's no story, and these levels just loop around. So I can go back the other way, and you can see that it just loops around. As you can see, the bar at the bottom overheated. I used my sword too many times. One thing I absolutely love about this game is the fact that it uses HD Rumble to its fullest potential. When you're using your different weapons, or when you're shooting different enemies, you can really feel that there's different levels of HD Rumble in this game. That's absolutely one thing I absolutely love about this game. If you really want to feel what HD Rumble is outside of like 1-2 Switch, this is going to be the game for that. This game may look hard, and it does get hard in times, but it's not one where like you feel like, oh yeah, I can't play it, or it's way too hard. Once you have all this stuff, and once you really figure out everything you can do, then this game becomes a little bit easier. And this is a game also that I feel like a lot of people could speedrun because it is so satisfying just going around killing enemies. And once you get the hang of it, you really feel like you want to speedrun it. See, that's the thing. It says A to submit score and B to B later. I don't know why the A button is submit your score, because you may want to continue and skip to the next level. This level has 3 different waves or phases, and most of them after the first one does have more than one wave, or I mean has 3 waves. So I think the standard for each level is going to be 3 different waves. And I did notice too that the bar at the bottom actually takes longer to refill than your actual pea shooter bar. So once your pea shooter or your regular bullets overheat, the bar overheats, you can actually recover that faster than your special bar at the bottom. Also in the bottom left, you can see that I do have hits. I have one more hit left to give. Sometimes when you're shooting enemies, they'll actually drop health. It'll be a green gem, and go ahead and pick that up. Once you pick that up, you will be able to regain health, but it's rare that you actually do find health. So most of the time you don't actually find health when you're actually playing this game. Let me go ahead and see if I can get and show you some of the other weapons you do get in this game. Overall, I would recommend actually trying this game out if you can. I wouldn't say sleep on it. I actually found out also a lot of people aren't actually picking this game up, and this game is actually an awesome game, especially if you're a shoot 'em up fan, or if you just want a game to pick up and play. You maybe already played Zelda or Mario Kart or some big AAA game. Here we have the beam right here. And the beam definitely feels different than like your standard shooter or like your sword that swings around. For the big enemies, like this guy, you really want to use your beam because he has a lot of health and he will take a lot of punishment, so you definitely want to use your beam. And right here, you do have a dash, so in certain situations, you can dash out. Just make sure when you're dashing, if enemies are shooting bullets, don't dash while the enemies are shooting bullets. I'm going to go ahead and dash through. You can see I can dash through. I don't think they take any damage when you dash through. You do have 2 dashers to give, so you can't spam that as well. I think, honestly, Virtue Pop did a very good job of making sure that you can't be spamming everything, so you really got to strategize when it comes to playing this game. And I am using the Pro Controller right now. This game does fully support the Pro Controller. Ah, dang it, I accidentally died. This game can get kind of frustrating, but I wouldn't say it's to the point to where you want to throw your switch out. And you have 2 lives per level. And as you can see, it started me back on phase 2 or wave 3. And on the bottom right, you can see that those are all my power-ups or all my abilities I have to use. And once you remember what abilities tied to what button, it becomes second nature to you. It is very, very easy. There you go, I took another hit. I'm not really paying attention because it's kind of hard to talk and play at the same time. And as you can see, when you destroy enemies as well, you do get like these explosions. That's why the game's called Graceful Explosion Machine, which I think is very awesome. This game, a lot of people have said, looks like a mobile game. I might have already said that, but in my opinion, I think this game is just awesome. I would recommend trying it out. And it looks like I'm already out of my bar at the bottom's already drained, so I can't use any special attack. Here we go, now I can. A lot of people actually, some people who are playing this game actually said that they have a favorite weapon they like using. But for me, I actually like using all of the weapons, because I think all the weapons in this game are just so satisfying, and they feel so different from one another. There's that little green thing I was talking about. I got some health back at the bottom left. I have 2 hits now because I got 2 green bars. Dang it, I got hit again. It's really hard to talk and play at the same time, at least for me, so I'm not that good at talking and playing. Let's see if I can... Oh, that was close. That guy almost destroyed me. Let's see if I can get my last power-up. The last power-up in the game will be the missiles. And the missiles are probably the strongest weapon in the game, in my opinion. Just because you can angle them and everything. I think you get the missiles either on this stage or the next stage. And I didn't mention, but at the top right, you do have your score. And then you also have a layout of the level at the very top. It's kind of a map, but you don't really need to look at that because you can see the enemies on screen and how many you have left of the level. And in handheld mode, you should be getting around 5 to 6 hours because, again, this is an indie game. So if you're a person that loves playing in handheld mode, you shouldn't have any problems here because you can see these graphics are crispy, but they're not amazing to where it should be draining a lot of battery. This game should not be draining a lot of battery at all. And one thing I like about this game as well, each enemy are different colors, so you really remember what each enemy does. So you remember, oh yeah, the blue ones are much more tankier, or the green ones are like will target onto you. Like that little blue character on the screen now, that little blue enemy, he'll actually target onto you and start chasing you a little bit. So you have to remember that he's an enemy that will start chasing you. Only thing that would make this game better is boss fights and a little bit more different modes to the game, because right now there's not a lot of thing. You got your standard 36 levels and that's it. I think you have a challenge mode in the main menu, but that's pretty much it when it comes to modes. But for me personally, I am a person that loves replaying my games, and this is a game you don't have to think too much when actually playing. And it looks like I have one more hit to give. Let's see if I can actually manage to get out of here before I die. And my bar at the bottom's already low, and I can't use any of my special abilities. Go ahead and attack these. Ooh, this is getting kind of tough, and I'm already on like the 2nd level. Dang it, I keep running out of all my special attacks. Keeps overheating. But then again, I said I do love that aspect, because it gives it way more strategy. Let's see. I think that might be the last enemy. Nope. Oh, yes, it is the last enemy. I was about to say, but yet, I got the last enemy out of the way. The next level should be the missiles. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the missiles before I head out of this video, because it's pretty much the same thing through level. Also, in this game, you do get ranked. So you can see I got a check mark here, and then I got a B and a C. The better you do, the better you rank. What you want to try to strive for is always be killing enemies, because that's how you rack up score. The more enemies you're killing in a row, the more you're racking up. I think level 1-4 might be it. Yep, it looks like I got the missiles. So let's see if I can show the missiles. And you can spam the missiles. You can see the missiles are flying everywhere, and they actually bounce off the walls. And you can lightly tap it, or if you hold that down on the missiles, then you can actually just target one area. I'm just going to go ahead and tap on the missiles. You can see that's a little bit, but I can direct them in one area if I really want to. Let's wait for our bar to fill up. Then I'm going to hold it down. You can see all my missiles are pretty much going to the left. Some of them went to the right, but pretty much a lot of them went to the left. And as you can see, I did take some damage right there as well. And as the game goes on, you will find different enemies. I'm not that far into the game. And the one thing I have a complaint about this game, all the worlds or all the planets look pretty much the same. The color patterns look the same. The enemies look the same. It does start to get kind of generic and repetitive after a while. But if you love replaying games or if you love a simple game, then this is definitely going to be a game to pick up. Honestly, I wouldn't sleep on this game. I would say that this game is definitely worth picking up in my opinion. It depends if you love shoot 'em up games and things like that, or if you love pick up and play games and stuff like that. I'll go back to the main menu, but here, as you can see, before I head back to the main menu, there are 4 different planets in this game. I have not unlocked them all. These are the 4 different planets you can play on. Here's all the modes in the game. So you got play. That is what I just showed you right there. This is the main game of the game. And then you have challenge modes, which I haven't unlocked yet. I think you might have to beat the game for that. And then you do have options. And here's everything in the options. I would recommend keeping, obviously, controller vibration on. If you want to keep on in-game tips, you can. Screen shake, sound volume, music volume. And that's pretty much everything in Graceful Explosion Machine. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.